Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden, and tonight we are doing another live stream. And this time, again, Loren is here with me. And what we're going to be doing tonight is talking about and drinking New Orleans style cocktails. So basically, what's going to go on is at first we're going to start with tasting our Sazerac Cognac, which we got from Sazerac. Or from the Sazerac house, mind you. So we're gonna start with that, and then we're gonna go ahead, and there's two versions of each drink that we're gonna drink. One of her favorite drinks is the French 75. It is named actually after a gun that they use in a war. It's like a French. It's called the French 75 or something like that, or the 75 something. I don't really know the whole story, but French 75 is named after a gun, and then is originally made with, I think the original one was cognac, right?
I don't know.
It was either gin or cognac.
It probably is because it's French and cognac's French, but somehow it.
What I do remember is that in the 20s it was made with gin, and then once it got more into the 40s and 1940s and cognac got more popular, they started making them with cognac too. So now it's kind of a coin toss on which one they'll make. But basically, it is gin, lemon juice, simple syrup, and Prosecco or any kind of bubbly champagne. We're using Prosecco because we're cheap.
No, we're using Barefoot because we're cheap.
Yeah, true. We're using Barefoot because we're cheap. The Prosecco, it can be expensive, but this is not. So, that being said, how's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to it. Say what's up in the chat. I see Sugar Kitty is here as always. Meow. Welcome to it, Sugar Kitty. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start off by pouring this Sazerac Cognac. So just so you guys know what we're drinking. I did look up a little bit of stuff on this, and basically, from what I found, results were not super accurate, I would say, because I was mainly searching for an age statement on it. And the age statement that I found online was anywhere between 8 and 50 years, a blend of 8 and 50-year-old, between 8 and 50-year-old cognac. So there is this whole pamphlet here. I want to go ahead and lift that up and show them that. So that kind of just has a bunch of history on it, I believe, right?
I'm not sure.
We do have this beautiful little neck tag on the bottle.
They have a picture of what the
Bernard Sazerac, and
in case you were wondering what he looked like.
Yeah, lots of famous, important people in the whiskey world on here, I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
so
Churchill.
That's Churchill.
And that's Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. So lots of important people on this one. Yeah, so this is a 47% ABV. That's 94 proof. It is anywhere. It's a blend between 8 and 50-year-old. Anywhere in between their cognac. Only available in Cognac, France, unless you get it shipped over to the Sazerac house in New Orleans, which is the only place in America that you can get it, I believe, which is where we got it. MSRP is about $130, and we're going to go ahead and see if it's worth $130 here. This is going to be kind of an informal review, just kind of our first time tasting together. We will go in more depth.
Have you had regular brandy or regular cognac to compare it or no?
I have had. Okay, so when I first turned 21, my friend's dad had a bottle of Louis something or another in a very elegant box in a very elegant decanter. It was about $2,000, I was told, and it was actually the first legal drink that I drank when I turned 21. Now, I was not a bourbon aficionado back then, or any kind of super sommelier, anything like that. I didn't even have a developed palate to pass the point of alcohol taste. Okay, so did I think it was good? Yeah, but I mean, that was just kind of young me not knowing what I was doing. However, he did offer to give me the bottle. There's only 1 or 2 pours left in the bottle, so we are going to get that bottle here on the channel. just kind of as like a little bit of eye candy for everyone, and maybe polish it off together, me and him, or finish it off on the channel doing kind of a review of it, being a super nice, expensive cognac. So other than that, I haven't had brandy or cognac straight up, which is like, I've had it in cocktails, and that's about it. And not really not very spirit forward cocktails the way we're going to be making them. They were kind of more Wisconsin style, watered down with like soda and stuff type cocktails. But yeah, I gotta say I'm pretty excited for it because every cognac I've ever smelled has smelled super fantastic, very sweet. And for those of you who don't know, cognac is a brandy, I believe, that's made in Cognac, France. Just like champagne is bubbly, it's made in Champagne. And it is distilled grapes, so it's kind of like distilled wine. If you want to like compare it that way. But yeah, it's grapes. I believe these are white grapes that go into this one. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pour these right into the glasses here. All right, now, oh, that's not the cork. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move this out of the way so I can set the bottle down in the background. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this on the nose. So do you remember all kind of the training behind tasting and stuff? Maybe?
Maybe.
All right, so basically, we're gonna pick it up, swirl it around. This is, like I've said in the past, we're kind of getting her into whiskey and into this world of alcohol, doing this with me. But she hasn't done it very often, and she definitely might need a little bit of help and reminders. It might not taste anything super extraordinary to her right now, but in the future, I'm sure that she will definitely pick it up. It's kind of hard for beginners picking out in particular notes, but I think maybe later in the night we might have her try it again, just like one sip or one smell of it, because this is our first glass of the day. So fresh noses, fresh palates might detriment our ability, or mainly her ability, to pick out particular notes. So that being said, it is incredibly hot in this room. Wisconsin has had a heat wave go over it. Very humid, like 90% humidity. The UV index was at 8, which I'm pretty sure is very, very bright and bad for your skin. It was like 86 degrees, but it felt like 91 or something, or it felt like 100.
On my way home, it felt like 102 or something.
Felt like 102. And we only have one AC unit in this apartment, and unfortunately for us, it's not in this room. So this room doesn't get much circulation. There's not even a fan, and yeah, it's a bummer, but it is what it is. So it's a little hot in here, but we're gonna go ahead and bear with it here as we give you guys a good live stream, hopefully. So, all right, ready for the nose? Okay. Notice anything right off the bat?
Yeah, it smells like grapes.
Smells like grapes. I gotta say, one of my first reactions to it smells like grapes. I want to say that I got a little bit more of like a baking spice in there as well. Maybe like anise or anise, however you say that. Slightly, just a slight little bit in there. I almost get a little bit of tobacco, like very, very, very light tobacco. Nothing too potent. It's definitely a very sweet cognac. You know, it's different because we do a lot of whiskey and bourbon and stuff, which is like sweet, but cognac is made from grapes, which is already sweeter. So everything should be on the sweeter side compared to a bourbon, I would think. But like I said, haven't done much exploring in the cognac region, so it'll be interesting to see how this is. Sugar Kitty says, I know some of the French on the streams have commented on specific requirements to be cognac. Besides the place, I found an article that says, the brandy must be twice distilled in copper pot stills and aged at least 2 years in French oak barrels from Limousin or Trancias. I don't even know how to I'm not French, but
Remember.
that is really interesting. I guess I didn't even comprehend that, like bourbon, cognac would have a very specific set of rules to make it cognac. So I'm sure everyone knows bourbon is just American whiskey, just normal whiskey. But what makes it bourbon is being aged a minimum of 2 years, new white oak barrels, that kind of stuff makes it bourbon. And it's interesting to see that cognac is very similar. So it requires twice distilled in copper pots and aged at least 2 years in French oak barrels. And Sugar Kid says Trancé. Okay, Trancé. Yes. Say it with me.
I like
Trancé.
how you say that. Like Trancé.
Trancé.
I would not like you.
Yeah, I mean, I might need a little practice on my French before I take a trip to that part of the country, but that part of the world. But the French are like that, very controlled regulations. Armagnac has their set of rules too. Yeah, that's one thing. Honestly, I wish whiskey had a little bit more. I mean, like, Scotch is like so free, and like bourbon already has all those set rules, but like scotches and stuff, everything is very, very, very wide on the ruling of what can be a scotch. It's just got to be like whiskey made in Scotland. Pretty simple, but yeah, French seem to have their restrictions, and I believe it. Armagnac, I actually haven't had any Armagnacs before. I have had a bourbon finished in an Armagnac barrel. That was really, really good. But yeah, I think that was it for my experience with Armagnac. Have you ever had anything? Have you even had brandy straight?
Yeah.
Where'd you have brandy straight?
In Door County.
Oh, okay. So I lied. Maybe I have had brandy straight once. A tasting up north in Door County, which is a small area in Wisconsin, to kind of like at the tip of the peninsula where everyone just goes to like mini vacay. They have a distillery up there that they serve and make their own bourbon, rye, stuff like that. I don't find their bourbon and rye to be super great. I think they're still a little bit young, a little bit craft. They could use a little bit more to them, but I do think I have had the cognac. It's just something that I can't quite remember. So yeah, brandy. Sorry, it's not cognac. It's brandy. But yeah, so this is my first dabble with straight cognac. Besides that beginning one, have you ever had any cognac or Armagnac or anything like that?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Sugar says he prefers Calvados from apples and or pears compared to brandies from grapes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Brandy's a Wisconsin drink, though, so I feel like we have to be partial to it.
True. Brandy is very, very Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the French being in Canada, came down to Wisconsin, and were giving us a bunch of brandy, and we ended up liking a lot. And then kind of like the northern and middle part of the state took brandy in and kind of like started doing brandy all the time instead of like whiskey, the way places like Kentucky were doing bourbon. So that was, I think brandy's kind of a Wisconsin thing from the French in Canada, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because the French colonized and stuff. Do you want to learn something that I learned about bourbon today?
What did you learn about bourbon today?
So I learned that, do you know what the drink of Kentucky is? Like, like the Sazerac, the drink of New Orleans?
Okay, yeah.
It's not bourbon, even though 80% of bourbon is made in Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah, it's like some soda, like some random soda.
Interesting.
I heard on the radio.
So the way Sazerac is kind of, right? You said Sazerac is like...
Sazerac is like...
The way Sazerac is kind of a New Orleans thing. You know how places have their drinks? Apparently, Kentucky, if you guys didn't hear, I don't know if you did, Kentucky's drink is not bourbon. It's some kind of soda.
It's
like their state drink is like a soda.
It's called like Ale 8 or something like that.
Interesting.
It's like a soda.
Yeah, wow. So That is interesting. But I think that's enough teasing. We're gonna go ahead and get back on the nose of this. Yeah, very light fruits, light grapes, definitely green grapes, if I had to say, or white grapes. A little bit of spices, a little bit of tobacco. I want to say almost like I get this like citrusy grape fruitiness in it, maybe, which is interesting. Seems to have decent legs to it. I'm not sure how the mouthfeel is going to be. Like I said, this is our first crack. We did open the bottle, so it got some air in it a little while ago, but it's still a neck pour, very first of the bottle. So I think it's time to get this on the palate. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. Cheers. That was rough. Let's try it again. Cheers. There you go. More force is required.
I can't drink at the same time as you. It makes me uncomfortable. It doesn't even tingle even a little bit.
I like that. It almost felt like
it tastes
it's
like a
spicy
grape,
on the palate.
Really? I thought it tasted like a grape Jolly Rancher.
It could have been my being the first whiskey, cognac, whatever of the night. My palate not being used to it. I think there's just a little like initial like tang right on the front of the palate.
Like only tastes grape Jolly Rancher.
Only grape Jolly Ranchers, huh?
Like like that grapey flavoring thing. I can still taste it in my mouth.
Like a false grape.
Yeah, like
I don't give as much of a grape Jolly Rancher. I would say it's more of like you ever put like green grapes in the freezer?
No.
Really?
Do normal people put their grapes in the freezer?
Yeah. So I'm sure someone in there can back me up. Put grapes in the freezer, and then when you take them out, they're kind of like a little summertime snack. You just pop them in your mouth and you bite them, and they, because of the sugar, they don't really freeze like ice. They kind of are more like a slushy. Like if you were to freeze almost like a popsicle or one of those like freezy pops in the freezer, that's kind of what grapes are like. So pop a frozen grape in your mouth and just chew on it. And in summertime is like one of the best snacks ever. And so like that's kind of what's taken me to it here is like that fresh grape out of the freezer, bite down on it and just like get that nice sweet like grapeness from it, but it's like tamed down. It's not like, the reason I'm saying from a freezer is because the coldness from it being frozen kind of takes away some of that potent like tart grape flavor. I get more of like a toned down grape on this one. So
I'm so confused.
I can't believe you've never heard of that.
No.
So yeah, I mean, maybe it's something that we only did as kids, me and my family, but like I swear I've heard of other people or even seen that on the internet that people do that kind of thing. But if you haven't done it, which I know you haven't, we'll definitely have to try it because it's really like it just makes like a really nice snack when you want like ice cream or something. You don't want to eat unhealthy, but you want something cold and it's hot and it's summer. You just like
put grapes inside the ice cream.
You just
yeah.
But anyway, you just take the grapes and put them in the freezer. Then just take them out and just pop them like mollies. So, yeah, this is interesting. So it also has this kind of lingering funk taste on the back end of it that I think I get from like port wines. I'm assuming that's like a grapey like funk that you get when you like ferment grapes, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it again on the palate. And then we're going to talk about whether we like it or not. So I'll let you think of your opinions of this as I get one more sip. Yeah, go ahead. You know, I almost get like a... Oh. Okay, bear with me. I almost get... There's this note in peated scotches. Now, this isn't smoky, per se. Definitely not on the nose. Okay, so basically what I'm kind of getting here, which is really, really interesting to me, is I don't know if it's from the peat in peated scotches or from the malt in single malt scotches, but I'm getting this really prominent note of what seems to be either peat or malt, or like maybe when they malt the barley, that flavor that it's getting. But it's got like, it leaves this lingering flavor. It doesn't. You would never smell it or taste it and think like this tastes like a bonfire. It's almost more like I want to say like salty and earthy, maybe. Definitely, I think earthy is a good note for this one. It's also very floral now that I'm thinking about it. On the nose, I'm getting a lot of like floral, herbescent qualities on it. Sugar Kitty says there are two types of port, but that can be way, way funky. Just a little grape funky is probably more like sherry. Okay, interesting. Biking Bourbon, hey, how's it going? Welcome to it, man. I'm glad to see you in here. What are you guys drinking tonight, by the way? Earthy would be malt potentially, yeah. So I think that maybe it's coming off as what I get in malt for like scotches, but yeah, I wouldn't call it smoky anymore. I think earthy is the right tone, almost like a damp earthiness and a little bit of floralness, but it is really good. I'm sticking with my little bit of spice on the palate. I want to say there's like anise or anise.
It's definitely some sort of cinnamon-esque.
Yeah, definitely some spice on it.
It's
not like black licorice anise, but it's like,
it's very light, like small.
Yeah, it's there. It's toned down compared to the other flavors in it. Especially like how sweet and the grape forward it is. Obviously, being a cognac, but it's interesting. I think I could really sit down and sit with this one for a while and really pick it apart. Yeah. What do you think of it on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you give it and why?
I'm gonna say a 7.
A 7. And why a 7?
Because like it's good, and I've never had any other cognac, but I just feel like it could be like
better.
It could be more like fireworky.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I think
like I could drink this, and to me that means that it's not good enough.
Okay, well, just because it's easy to drink isn't always a bad thing. I think what you're trying to get at is cask strength whiskeys tend to have a full-bodied, lots of different flavor type experience to it, and this being kind of easy to drink, low proof, doesn't really give you that, maybe is what you're kind of trying to say. I'd have to agree somewhat. I think for the proof that it's at, I think it's quite evolving, and I think you can definitely pick it apart a little bit and have a couple different notes on it and a couple different experiences on it. Unfortunately, she is right about it being easy to drink. I don't think this would be something I'd add water to or ice at all. Maybe once just to try it, but I think it's pretty simple on its own.
You'd be able to taste anything if you added
I think it would water it down a little bit too much if you cooled it down or added water. But I think in these cocktails that we're going to be making, it's really going to like give something to them. I know gin is a very forward.
I think it's going to taste better in the French 75 than the Sazerac.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to have enough to it for the Sazerac.
Yeah, the Sazerac is going to be interesting because Sazerac has so many things going on, so many really potent flavors. First of all, Absinthe is very aggressively potent, and so is bitters, whereas Rye is going to have a little bit more to it than this cognac, I think. But it would be interesting to put it head-to-head against Sazerac Rye, which is what they ended up making after they stopped making cognac. So originally, Sazerac, they were only doing the cognac thing, and then eventually, as time went on, they switched over to rye. So they still make cognac, but rye is now what they make, especially in the United States, in New Orleans. They do Sazerac Rye in the Sazerac House.
Bourbon Day.
Yes, it is National Bourbon Day.
That's why it was on the radio.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we might have to break and do a bourbon later, but we're going to stick to this right now because it's funny. The one National Bourbon Day, and I'm drinking ryes, cognacs, mixed drinks. We're not even drinking bourbon. Like, man, I missed the mark on this one. But I figured...
bourbon shirts on, though.
Yeah, she does have the bourbon shirt. I got the bourbon bar. I'm wearing the bourbon bar. So if you guys haven't seen that shirt, I got bourbon face on Shit Street. It's classic. It's funny. Yeah, just kind of show it off there.
What direction
that
I
way.
I'm going to fall over.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think, yeah, that's good.
Oh, that hurts.
I think that shirt's really, really freaking awesome. So also, I think this cognac is pretty phenomenal. So yeah, I would say I would give it 8.1 out of 10.
8.1.
Yeah, 8.1. You can use decimals in my system. I forgot to tell you. Is it still a 7 or would you?
No, it's still 7.
Still 7.
It would be a 7.5 if it tingled my tongue.
If it tingled your tongue.
But it doesn't tingle my tongue.
So I think it will be interesting down the road. Obviously, this is a bourbon bar, not the cognac bar, but I definitely think down the road it would be really interesting to put this up against some other cognacs and see how it compares there. Because like I said, I have a bourbon palate. I drink bourbon, a lot of bourbon, some ryes, some scotches, but cognacs aren't really on my level. So it'll be interesting to see how it compares to other ones. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started on these cocktails right after I read some comments. Have you ever had Deanston for Scotch? That's got a ton of malt on it. I haven't had Deanston, but I did have this Scotch at a local bar that I go to that it was, I think it was finished in like pear something, like a.
Where were
it was at the bourbon room, and they had like a flight. It was a Widow Jane flight, and there was a bunch of them.
Apples.
Well, one was apples, and it was apples and pears. But it was a Scotch, but it had like this super. I don't know if it was finished in something or if it was just a very light, nice single malt Scotch. But it was finished in, or its tasting notes were so apple and pear forward, and it had a lot of like that malt characteristic that I'm getting from this, but with that like sweet light fruit, like apples and pears. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit because this kind of has that like malty earthiness to it, along with some light fruit. Granted, it's white grapes, but white grapes fall pretty close to that pear apple type palate. So definitely interesting. Bourbon Rendezvous. Hey, whiskey people, happy National Bourbon Day. So yeah, hey, welcome to it, Bourbon Rendezvous. What are you drinking tonight? What is everyone drinking tonight? I know we got lots of people in here, and I hope everyone's drinking along with us. Obviously, you can, if you have anything here, you can drink this along with us. Otherwise, definitely break out some good bourbon. Being International Bourbon Day, it's something I might do later in the stream. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start making one of our cocktails. First cocktail we're gonna start with is going to be we're going to start with the Sazerac. Sazerac's the easy one because it's stir in a glass. You don't have to do any shaking. I just picked up Absinthe today because I didn't have any Absinthe, and it's expensive. I'm not going to lie. For a $7.50, it's like $70, but
$7.
this is a $3.50. I like the bottle. It's very tall and skinny. It's only a $3.50. It was only $30, but I guess I've never had to buy Absinthe before, so I wasn't sure what I was going to be expecting. But yeah, I also haven't like even smelled Absinthe before. I'm pretty sure it used to be illegal or
Isn't
like
that what they drink in
poisonous or.
Alice in Wonderland?
Oh. Do you like black licorice?
No. Ew. Wow. That's disgusting. You
So
don't
this
like
is-
black licorice. Why are you?
This is very well. I knew it was anise like flavor. So this is the description. It's got grande wormwood, green anise, sweet fennel, hyssop, and Roman wormwood. Now you only use this by if you have a spritzer, just spritzing it on the glass before you pour in the drink. Otherwise, it's just and you just pour it in just a little bit, roll it around the glass, and then dump it out, just so it can coat the glass and give a little hint of anise flavor to the drink. Now, this is how they make it in New Orleans at the Sazerac house. Some people prefer to leave the absinthe out of it, but I liked the Sazerac house's Sazerac, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the anise. They also use a sugar cube. I'm going to be using simple syrup because I just don't have sugar cubes, and I don't think there's really a point to it. The sugar doesn't normally dissolve because you're mixing it in something cold instead of something warm. So then you got like that gritty sugar on the bottom of your glass. Doesn't really do it all well. I prefer a simple syrup, but it's personal preference. If you guys like sugar cubes, definitely go with the sugar cubes. Now, actually, in New Orleans, they use Absinthe, which is actually a absinthe liqueur type deal. So it's kind of a little bit sweeter and less aggressive than absinthe, but it's the same thing basically. Basically, absinthe, I'm pretty sure, got banned for being like dangerous or something. I don't even know what they were doing with it back in the day. But they ended up having to switch and make Absinthe because they could no longer sell absinthe for their drinks. So. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and catch up on a couple of comments here. I see some people commenting. Sugar Kitty says, apple and pear notes might be Kleinlich and Knock or Glencadam. A blend might be Compass Box, Orchard House. Jeez, I am butchering these names. I can't enunciate. Man, I'm gonna be so bad when I go to other countries. It's okay. I'll pick it up by then. Parzival, cheers from Germany. Hey man, welcome to it. Glad to see you here. I'm pretty sure that's a new one, so welcome. What are you drinking tonight, National Bourbon Day? Having a bourbon. I see you have your beers mug, cheersing everyone, but whether drinking beer or bourbon, you're welcome here, definitely. So thanks for stopping in. Cheers to you. Bourbon Rendezvous says, have you ever tried an old fashioned known as in fashion? It's bourbon Grand Marnier black walnut bitters garnished with expressed orange peel and Luxardo cherry.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure they just have called flavored ones.
So Grand Marnier is a orange liqueur, right? Like a triple sec type deal. I'm pretty sure. That's what Grand Marnier is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Grand Marnier is an orange liqueur like triple sec. So I would imagine that would be really good, especially with the black walnut bitters, because obviously old fashioned's having so much orangey notes, especially coming from when you express the orange peel over the top of it, which is always one of the best parts of doing it. So yeah, that sounds really good. I have not had it, but I will definitely have to try it now that I know what it is. So I cannot take absinthe for sure, not for me. Yeah, you're with Loren, exactly. I think it's definitely a acquired taste for sure, but it's the thing about making cocktails is it takes so much power to have so little come through on it, because there's so much in the drink, right? So that little bit of absinthe, it's just gonna add this twinge of anise note to it, but it's not going to be overwhelming or overbearing by any means. In fact, if you order Sazeracs from a lot of places, a lot of them will have that absinthe in it, so you may not have even noticed. but I think it just kind of adds a third dimension to a drink, and I think it really helps. Yes, Alice drank it. It was illegal in the U.S. because of the wormwood. Interesting. I never.
Disney was just out here,
Yeah.
making videos of little children drinking illegal things.
I never knew that. I mean, I knew that it was illegal, but I didn't know it was
the
because of the
next couple.
wormwood. Wormwood is what Malort is made of. What? Is it really? I have Malort. Oh, it's in the other room. Is that what it's made out of? Wormwood? God, that's horrible. No, you can. It's fine. I don't need to drink it again tonight because last time I drank it, it was. Ugh.
No wonder it tastes so disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't. Okay. Can't tell if he's being serious or not. Be more bourbon. Cheers. Hey, welcome to it. Interesting. Correct. A little richer, but one of the best old fashions I ever had. Interesting. It definitely sounds really, really good. I think that triple sec-y type. I think if I did it, if I wanted to try it out just to see if I like it, I have a budget triple sec that I could probably use. I'm sure Grand Mariner has quite a bit more volume to it, a little bit more flavor to it, but they serve a really nice restaurant called Capitol Grill. It sounds really nice. Sounds like something I would get. Grand Marnier.
I think that they have old fashions like that around here because that makes sense. It's made with brandy. When I go Wisconsin, old fashions made with brandy.
Yeah. Combination of triple sec and brandy. Okay, that makes sense. So it's like a more potent triple sec. Okay. Malort is the Scandinavian word for wormwood.
You're learning so much today.
What? That's so exciting. I'm going to be bringing this information to my friends. Someone here, I'm going to
Do you want me to write it down?
No, I think I'm just going to have it up on my phone and I'll screenshot it because that is, apparently I can't screenshot when I'm on YouTube or not.
There, I did it.
That's awesome. I honestly never knew that, and that kind of made my whole day. So, every day you learn something. Bourbon Rendezvous says I'm going to make it with triple sec tonight and see how it goes. Marnier. So it is Marnier, not Mariner.
Yeah, that's the second person told you that.
Well, I know.
Can't
Sugar Kitty said it.
You must have too much cognac in your system. That's just overtaking your tongue.
I didn't know. To be fair, it says it reads Mariner in English.
Is that French too?
I think it's French.
Wow.
So which would make sense why it's Marnier or Marnier. I heard that a guy from Frederick, who is a guy named Frederick, who is from Sweden and has a whiskey channel. Interesting. I'll have to check him out. Frederick. Do you know the name of the channel by chance? It's the brandy that makes a Grand Marnier richer. Interesting. Maybe I'll have to try a Grand Marnier. I wonder if you just mix cognac or brandy with triple sec, you can make your bootleg Grand Marnier.
If you had the right measurements, maybe.
I wonder if that's a thing that has to come from France too. That would. Nah, maybe not.
I don't know the answer. Are you gonna make some cocktails?
Yes.
Or what?
I think it's past time I made some cocktails. With the scalding summer heat in Wisconsin right now.
We're gonna pour ourselves a nice hot Sazerac.
Sazerac is served cold.
I know, but it tastes hot.
Yes, we're gonna have some nice, refreshing drinks. From people who drink whiskey straight, a cocktail is more than sweet and cold enough for a whiskey drinker. I know people who are out there drinking cask strength whiskey neat on 80-degree summer days, and that's not me. I'll be the first to say it. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the Sazerac. We're gonna go. I lied. We're gonna go ahead and start with the French 75, only because then she can start drinking it while I'm making my Sazerac. So we're gonna do it in a champagne flute.
Are you gonna do it with gin or with?
And we're gonna do the first one with gin, and we're gonna do the second one with cognac because the original, the way they did it in the 20s was gin, and then I'm pretty sure they switched to cognac. And I think the more popular way is with gin. But what you're gonna do is go ahead and add ice to a shaker. And I just need to reach in my fridge. All right. Then we're going to do, I believe, sorry guys. So jigger we're going to do, was it 1.5 ounces of gin.
Oh, I didn't Google it.
I believe it's 1.5 ounces of gin. It's like 4 parts, 4 parts bubbly, 2 parts gin, 1 part simple syrup, and 1 part lemon juice, garnished with a lemon twist. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 1.5 ounces of gin, and I'm using Bombay because that's my gin of choice. I prefer it over anything like Tanqueray. It's not really my style. I haven't had a lot of gins, so I can't really be particular. Then we're gonna go ahead and do 0.75 ounces of simple syrup. Actually, I'm gonna do just half an ounce of simple syrup because I'm pretty sure this is a 2-to-1 simple syrup, which means 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, making it a little bit more potent than other simple syrups. And then we're gonna go ahead and do 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. And you can use fresh lemon juice, will probably give you the best taste, but I do this, which is just refrigerated lemon juice. It's easy for me. It's 100% lemon juice. It's not like lemonade or anything like that, so that helps a lot. And then we're going to go ahead and shake this up. Next on the list is going to be popping the cork on this.
Don't break something, please. Hold on. Put a towel over it in case it...
And I'm going to be safe and put a towel over it because...
he has a reputation for letting champagne corks fly across the house.
That is true, I do. I almost got hit in the face once, which was less than ideal.
Almost broke his mother's cabinets and window.
I almost broke my cabinets and window at my mother's house. So now that that is open, we are going to strain this into a champagne flute. You can really, it belongs in a Tom Collins glass, one of those skinny, tall glasses. But I just do it in a champagne flute because it's a French 75 and it's got champagne in it, bubbly in it. So it makes it feel kind of fancier. And then we're just going to top it off with a little bit of Prosecco or any kind of bubbly that you guys find. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. And then...
it's over bubbling. Oh, no.
It'll be okay. No. It'll go on the side. Oh, yes. That's why we have the tray. Thank you, Sazerac House. And then last but not least, we're going to garnish with a lemon peel. And I didn't grab a knife, but I think...
that is a bottle.
Yeah, but... All right. I'll be right back while I grab it.
I don't need a lemon peel.
I know, but I want a lemon peel for my drink. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a knife, unless you want to go grab one from me, which would be easier. While she does that, I'm going to set this off to the side here, and we are going to go ahead and start making the Sazerac. Now, for this Sazerac, we're going to do, starting with Sazerac Rye. It's going to be Sazerac Rye first, then we're going to end up going into the Cognac after that. She brought the Malort in here. Somebody come save me quick. So, lemon peel, it's easier if you have like something that you maybe peel carrots with, which I do, but I kind of forgot to ask for it. Otherwise, they make lemon peelers or orange peelers for when you have drinks. And, you know, you're supposed to like make a really big spiral, make them a little bit smaller, and it kind of works a little better over, like in the glass to make it prettier. But we're not that fancy, so we're just going to go ahead and go like this. Put it over the top or inside. Yeah, and so there we have a French 75 named after a gun from the war. I don't know which one because I am not that well educated on it, but it is a French 75.
I feel like they don't describe this very well. All it says is Jepson's Malort has the aroma and full-bodied flavor of an unusual botanical. Its bitter taste is savored by two-fisted drinkers.
Yeesh. I'm definitely not two-fisting Malort, that's for sure. So apparently, yeah, it doesn't say much on the bottle. Did you guys know, and this was really exciting news for me, I saw it at the liquor store the other day. They just came out with, apparently, or at least this is the first I've seen it, Malort finished in oak barrels. So it's like they just took Malort and then put it through the whiskey process of aging it in an oak barrel. Like, I want it now, please. It's only $25 from my local Woodman's. So I was really thinking about getting it. I've been spending a lot of money in New Orleans, and I get scared of
and then you would
buying
have
a lot
had
more.
a video comparing regular Malort.
Yeah, and then I would have had to do a tasting of Malort versus barrel-aged Malort. It would have been a whole thing. But if you guys really, really want to see that, just let me know. Maybe you guys could Venmo me in the description, and if I get enough Venmo, then I'll go and buy it. But otherwise, what's your idea?
The next time we play a game on here, if you do really bad, instead of forcing you to drink tequila and bourbon mixed together, you have to go buy the Malort and do a whole video.
Maybe. Maybe. So yeah, maybe. We'll see how that all turns out. But how is your French 75? You tasted it, right?
Yeah, I know you're drinking. It's good.
Very light. Oh, I remember why it is called the French 75. Named after a gun that was pretty powerful, and I believe the whole thing about it, what being named after that gun, is that it packs a lot of punch, but it doesn't. It's very powerful, but it doesn't seem like much when you're drinking it. So very easy to drink, very sweet. But if you paid attention, that's 1.5 ounces of gin and wine and bubbly all mixed in that cocktail, and it goes down easy as water. So it's really like it's this sweet lemony,
yeah, it's kind of like lemonade,
almost like a lemonade for sure. Very tart and citrusy forward. Bubbly adds like a nice texture to it. It's a little bit of like carbonation almost to it, and then the gin offers those botanical notes that I really like in gin drinks, kind of adding like a couple extra dimensions to it and really kind of rounding it off.
Plus with the lemon peel, so you smell when you're drinking it,
which is one of the biggest parts
it's just like all in your face. It's just like
one of the biggest parts of making cocktails is which a lot of people overlook is actually the garnish. While the garnish is mainly for looks, if you have a garnish with like a lemon peel or an orange peel or even a lime peel or something like that, the oils expressed out of the peel will be the strong, very nose forward part of the drink. So when you're garnishing with a peel, make sure you squeeze the oils onto the glass so that when you're drinking it, the first thing that you smell is that peel. Also, when you're making things like mojitos, make sure you clap the mint leaves and put the mint leaves right on the top of the drink, because when you're drinking it, while the mint sometimes gets hidden in a mojito, you'll be able to smell that fresh mint leaf coming out of the top of the drink. Just a little bit of tips and tricks for you guys. So while you're drinking that, I'm going to go ahead and make my Sazerac using Sazerac Rye. So starting off, I'm going to do it in a coupe glass. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of absinthe, and we're just going to twirl it around the glass and get it coated nice and good on the edges of the glass. And this is really all you need. It's not really adding a whole lot to the drink besides just a light coating on the glass. And then if you have any excess, just kind of dump out that one drop. That's what you buy this for. I'm pretty sure it's not something that you want to be drinking. So.
Do you remember when we went to that martini lounge and we got the Gotham drink and it was
Yeah.
black Sambuca?
Yeah. So.
You couldn't drink that.
I'm not a fan of Sambuca, that's for sure.
It's licorice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is black licorice, a lot very anise-y. So for a Sazerac, it's going to be stirred, and normally you chill the glass. I, however, did not chill the glass because I don't have a mini fridge in here. I mean, I have a mini fridge, but I don't have like a big mini fridge, and right now my mini fridge is keeping my ice cold, so that's how that's going. Next up, we're gonna do. Yeah, we're gonna start off with a simple syrup. So normally you would have a sugar cube in the bottom of your glass, but like I said, this is gonna be simple syrup all the way because I'm not a huge sugar cube fanatic. But we're gonna go ahead and do 1/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Not too much. You don't want to overpower this drink with the simple syrup. And then we're gonna go ahead and do 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. The reason we're doing Peychaud's, and I'm gonna probably do 4 or 5 because I really like bitters in my cocktails. But the reason we're doing Peychaud's is because it is native to New Orleans. The guy, I forget his name, something Peychaud. The guy who invented Peychaud's bitter went to New Orleans and was selling it to people there, and that's actually how the Sazerac house started, was with Peychaud's. Because he was selling it, and then he at his house, and he started making Sazeracs with it or something like that.
I think what he did was they already had the alcohol, but then he made the bitters and he put it in there because it was a medicine, remember?
Right.
And then people wouldn't start coming to the shop to drink his bitters with the liquor, and then somewhere along the lines they added the herbicide.
Yeah. So basically, it was kind of something that they played with until they got it right, and then they did, and then once they got it, it's actually the reason that this was with cognac before it was with rye whiskey, and it was never really called the Sazerac, but the Sazerac house in New Orleans was where they bottled and sold this cocktail as like a pre-mixed drink. So kind of like how you go to liquor stores and you sell pre-made Manhattans and Sazeracs and old fashions. They were making Sazeracs, whatever that drink was called, but they were the Sazerac house. And so what people did is they bought it, and it was the most popular one, and they just kept calling it. It was the Sazerac whiskey cocktail, and eventually, because it's kind of the way people call tissues Kleenexes, even though Kleenex is a name brand, everyone just calls them Kleenex, even though they're tissue, right? It's the same thing. Same with Ziploc bags. This is zipper bags, but Ziploc is the most popular, so everyone calls them Ziploc bags. It's the same kind of story with the Sazerac. It was the most popular pre-mixed cocktail was from the Sazerac house, so people started calling it the Sazerac whiskey cocktail. Somewhere along the line, whiskey fell off of the name, and everyone just called it the Sazerac cocktail, and then the Sazerac house kind of adopted that and made it huge, and then that's how we got the Sazerac cocktail today. So that is a fun fact for you guys, if you didn't know, which I'd be surprised if you did. Just looking, because I actually when we went to New Orleans, I got an actual video of how they say they make it, word for word, and they have a display case on how they make it, and that is correct. So next up, we're doing 1.5 ounces of Sazerac Rye Whiskey. And the thing about Sazerac whiskey Sazerac Rye, in my opinion, is it's kind of one of those ryes that is almost really sweet. Doesn't have a lot of that too aggressive of that rye spice that a lot of other ryes have. And I personally am, depending on the day, indifferent on whether I like the sweet or the spiciness. But this one is definitely a sweeter one in my opinion. It's definitely got a lot of things going on with it. I've never really went into it super deep. It's not like the first drink of choice for me by any means, but it is good. I prefer to use it in the Sazerac cocktail because that's how it was meant to be used, originally from Sazerac House, I believe. So this is actually going to be stirred and then poured into a chilled glass and garnished with a lemon peel. I don't have a chilled glass, so it's just going to be poured into a regular glass. And that glass is coated in absinthe because that is how they do it in New Orleans. So you want to give it a good stir, let it dilute a good bit here. You don't want to get too diluted, but you do want to kind of weaken that rye heaviness, which is kind of the point of making sure it's stirred well. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my strainer out of my other glass, and we're going to strain this into the coupe glass and then garnish with a lemon peel. So, is anyone else drinking these cocktails with us? I kind of took a while to get to this point. It's honestly, time has been flying by. I didn't even realize that we're already an hour in. However, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not. That definitely helps me out a ton. And I'm trying to get 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I want to get monetized so I can start kind of growing and making this something that I can do easier. Buying whiskey is expensive, especially in this time of our life where we're trying to save up to buy a house and stuff like that. So the more you guys help, the better. So yeah, definitely subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe, like the video, comments, everything, all that helps. So now we're garnishing. Final touches, garnish with a lemon peel. Get those nice oils all over the top of the glass. Kind of go around the outside, drop it in there. And that is how you make a Sazerac cocktail. So, what's so funny?
I don't know, my glass and the camera just looks so tiny compared to your body.
So we're gonna go ahead and wow, I said that twice. Get this on the nose. And like I said earlier in this video, first thing you're gonna notice is lemon peel. I mean, it's there up forward. It's very potent because of the way you expressed it over the top of the drink, but it's not too overpowering. I'm just getting a hint of that anise note that comes from the absinthe. But overall, you can definitely smell the rye in here. It's got that sweet cinnamon spice to it, and a little bit of sweet oakiness to it, just very light, very mild. But it's very nice. And now we're going to get on the palate. Okay. That's really good. I'll let you try that one. Now, she did have a Sazerac for the first time, I believe, in the Sazerac house. They made it for us. And she thought it was okay, not something she really wanted to sit there and sip on, as opposed to me.
Tastes different than what we had.
The one we had was made with Absinthe, which is a liqueur which adds a little bit more sugar to the drink along with that stuff, and we just made ours with Absinthe.
Yeah, and it did taste like licorice. So.
Did you like this?
I don't like that I can taste the stuff in it.
The anise? So yeah, depending on if it's your cup of tea or not, you guys can choose whether or not to add or not add the anise. I think I like it. Like I said, it adds something to this drink. But if you don't like it, definitely put it out. Maybe try adding
Try finding some
Absinthe. Yeah, maybe try some Absinthe. But it is a skippable part of this drink. So if you guys don't want it, definitely feel free to skip it. So very sweet. Like I said, the rye is very sweet, but it does have a little bit of that herbal notes to it. The absinthe gives it a little bit of anise flavoring, not too aggressive, but the lemon from the lemon peel is definitely coming through there on the palate. The bitters adds this like very vanilla-y-ness to it. Peychaud's is actually very vanilla-y bitters. I'm pretty sure it was vanilla and they said it at the Sazerac house. It was vanilla and I think a spice. I'm not sure which one.
Is that the one that we tasted?
We tasted two. This was the second one that we tasted.
What was the first one that we tasted?
The first one we tasted was a very old recipe from God knows when. It's kind of what they started off making when they made bitters, and then this is kind of like the perfected.
One was like super potent, and the other one was like really.
Yeah, this is the one that was not potent. Yeah, so this one is kind of more made for the consumer, whereas the other one has a lot more like kick to it. And this plays really, really nicely with the drink, and I like it a lot. So, Sugar Kitty says Frederick used to go by the name Damned by the Dram. Interesting, but then he started doing it as a duo, and they changed the name. I forget now. He comes on Scotch Down Under channel. Interesting. I'll have to find it. Sambuca is a ton of licorice, just a bit of elderberry that gets drowned out. And all washed out with as much sugar as possible. Yeah, so I definitely am not a Sambuca guy. That's for sure. You mean like it tastes like you're drinking sugar mixed with black licorice. Yeah, the elderberry, you can't even, I mean, I can't really get the elderberry on it. It's been a long while since I've had it. So, and I definitely didn't sit down and try to enjoy it. That's for sure. So, yeah, it's interesting. Medicine during Prohibition, yeah. So that would be the bitters, would be the medicine during Prohibition. Not exactly sure why they used bitters as medicine.
Because they could pull it, like, say that it was because certain, like, herbs or whatever
right,
in it
right.
were healing you.
Yeah. So kind of like having a whiskey when you have like a headache or nasal thing or a cold. If you're old enough, your mom and dad might have given you a little bit of whiskey and honey, maybe warmed up with a little bit of sugar, and that would help you as a kid. That was just enough to kind of give you a little bit of pain relief, a little bit of clearance, and since it's warm, it kind of clears everything out and helps a lot. So, Sugar Kitty says, remember to lick the like and like the lick. It tastes like New Orleans. Yes, it does. Don't forget to do that, and thank you, Sugar Kitty, for mentioning it. So we're going to go ahead and get into the next cocktails here because we're already at an hour in. So I do feel it necessary to kind of not drag this on too long for you guys. I'm going to keep enjoying this while you go ahead and get that glass out. So next up, we're making the same exact drinks with cognac instead of their original spirit. And we're going to see how it is comparatively.
Wait, was it cognac the original spirit, though?
So cognac was the original spirit of Sazerac, but I believe
this, right?
Gin was the original spirit of the French 75. But then in the 40s, they switched it over to cognac because cognac was becoming more popular. Gin was very popular during like Prohibition in those times. So that's kind of, I think, where it came from. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and start off with a little bit of ice in our shaker. And if you guys have had a French 75, how do you guys like it? Do you think it's something that is too easy to drink for us whiskey drinkers, or is it something that you guys tend to really enjoy? I personally like it, but I have a complete sweet tooth, and I love eating candy and everything of that nature. So that falls right in line with what I like. But I know a lot of people on the whiskey communities and bourbon community, they're not huge fans of that super sweet cocktailness. So guys will definitely have to let me know if that's something that you guys like. We are going to go ahead and start with the cognac. And we're doing 1.5 ounces of our Sazerac Cognac into our shaker. Then next up is we're going to do a half an ounce of simple syrup. So simple syrup is going to go half an ounce into the shaker as well. So this one is shaken, not stirred, but only the parts that are not carbonated. So obviously don't shake your bubbly in the shaker. I did shake soda in the shaker once by accident. I was being airheaded, and I found out pretty quickly that you're not supposed to do that. So yes, definitely if you're making this cocktail, don't put your bubbly in the shaker. I mean, you can. It just might be a little bit more fireworks than you wanted. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and do 0.75 ounces of lemon juice in the tin as I drip all over the floor.
That was not our mat.
And that is going to go ahead and get shaken. Watch your ears, everybody. Ear warning, earbud warning.
Remember the virtual bartenders, and when they shook it, their body didn't move. It was just this thing was going back and forth.
Yeah, because they were doing it to look good. They weren't. If they were, so yeah, what she's talking about is when we were in New Orleans, we had some virtual bartenders, and they made drinks and showed us how to make drinks and stuff, which I thought was really cool. But they were doing it for show, not for taste. So if you were in a regular bar, they would shake it up here pretty aggressively for a little bit longer. But in the virtual video, they just put the things together, and they're a couple 4 or 5 shakes.
This thing looked like it was going fast, but their body themselves was moving, so it was just but they weren't shaking. So
yeah, it was definitely interesting, but it was really cool.
Stared at you like this.
Yeah, no kidding. Very intense. But we're gonna go ahead and pour this right into the champagne flute.
Oh, it's a different color.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's weird.
That is the cognac giving it a little bit of a different color.
You know, this one's almost clear.
Then we're gonna add the prosecco.
Nope, it's bubbling over again.
That's okay, because we have a mat for that.
It's like a fancy beer from the commercials.
Yeah, from the commercials. That's exactly what I was trying to do, everybody. Finally, we're going to garnish with a lemon peel, one of, in my opinion, the most important parts of the drink, to really get that lemony nose on it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make this one look a little bit fancier, maybe, if I can, which is going to be really hard with just a knife instead of an actual peeler. Maybe I won't get it to look fancy. Yeah, if you guys have a peeler that works the best, obviously you're going to want one that has a very fine groove to it so you can kind of make a shape with this. I'm using that. Definitely don't use your lemon peel if you drop it on the ground. If you're making a drink for someone else, but for us, we live here. It is what it is. So express it over the drink and then kind of give it a twist.
Wow.
Fancy. And so this is going to be the French 75 with cognac instead of gin. So yes, if you guys can all see that, let me get this comment out of the way. Yep.
Okay.
Beautiful. So that is the French 75 with cognac instead of gin. How is it?
Different.
Different?
A lot. Doesn't even taste
Really?
like the same thing. Right? Yeah, it doesn't even taste like the same drink.
That's wild. Oh, man. Now, this is going to be the interesting part. Which one do you like better?
I don't know. I had one sip of that one. think you like that one. Drink my drink.
So the thing about this one is, gin is so light and it mixes so well that it leaves that light herbal flavors in the drink, but it doesn't really heavily influence the drink a whole ton besides adding those flavors. In this one, you can really tell that it's got that potent, kind of darker notes to it, kind of like, not that it's a really dark noted cognac, but I think the barrel aging is really helping that shine through here. That like French oak is kind of coming through more on this cocktail than it did in the gin version, obviously not being aged in a barrel. But I think that kind of spice and anise and kind of like not necessarily anise, kind of that cinnamony, grapey spice and that earthiness from the cognac is coming through a lot more on the cognac version in comparison to the gin version. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I don't know. I like it.
Did you determine a favorite yet?
I think that one tastes better, but since cognac's so much more expensive than gin, I would probably drink this one before I drink that one.
So you do think that one tastes better?
I like it better, yeah.
Now, if you guys have a cheaper cognac, which they make cheaper cognacs.
Or like, would brandy like work?
Yes, and brandy also would work. It wouldn't be cognac. You couldn't say you're making cognac in your French 75, so maybe you call it a French 55 or 65.
Like, was the one that I had at that restaurant, the Saint one, was that with gin? Or was that with cognac?
That was with gin.
But with that other stuff in it?
Absinthe?
No.
Or
Saint Germain.
Saint Germain, yeah. She had one at a restaurant when we were in New Orleans, and it was made with
they
gin.
Called it the Saint 75.
Yeah, they called it the Saint 75, and it was made with gin, but it had just Saint Germain liqueur, which we looked up and wasn't it elderberry or elderflower?
I think it was elderflower. I can't remember.
But then it was like an elderflower liqueur, which it was really good, right? You liked it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, so that is definitely an interesting one.
Are you interested to see how that's going to turn out now with the cognac?
Yeah, for sure. The Sazerac is definitely going to be less drastic, I think, being that rye and cognac are a little bit closer in palate than gin and cognac. The rye and the cognac both being aged in a barrel is really going to help this, and those barrel notes that I think are helping the French 75. That won't be standing out as much in the Sazerac, since the Sazerac is a rye forward or barrel aged forward cocktail. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up for you guys. Put that there. So yeah, this is, like I said, pretty simple. Once again, just do your. I'm doing a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. If you guys have a sugar cube and that's the way you want to do it, by all means, go ahead and do it that way. Then we're going to do 5 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. And you don't have to use Peychaud's. You can mix and match. Try orange. Try Angostura, which personally, I like Angostura a bit better than Peychaud's bitters. It's just my opinion. I think Angostura has a bit more potency and a bit more flavor. I think if I was going to make my own Sazerac, not New Orleans style.
I think you have before.
And I think I have too. I would use
I think you have a video
Angostura.
on this channel of you doing.
Not of Sazerac. That was.
Are you sure?
That was it was a whiskey sour.
Are you sure?
Yep. The only cocktail videos I have on the channel, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, would be an old fashioned, a whiskey sour, and another old fashioned, because I did the Brothers Bond old fashioned as well. And I believe that is it. Are you okay?
I choked on it.
Be careful. All right. And then last but not least, we're going to be doing one. I'm going to use this stuff so it doesn't go to waste here. 1.5 ounces of our.
Wait, I thought you were going to taste that again at the end.
I don't think it will be all of it.
Oh, okay.
Or it will be, and I'll need more. That's okay, because I have more in the bottle. 1.5 ounces of our Sazerac de Forge Cognac. Which, honestly, I think part of my favorite thing about drinking cognac drinks, or even just cognac in general, is saying it in the French, Sazerac de Forge. Cognac.
I feel like you could say it better.
Sazerac de Forge Cognac. Sazerac de Forge Cognac. So we got cognac in. Now we're going to go ahead and do our absinthe around the glass. So just a splash of absinthe in the glass there. We're going to swirl it around, kind of just get a nice coating on the outside of the glass.
We should get a sprayer.
Yes, I would love a sprayer. It's definitely much easier than doing this whole spinning of the glass for sure. They have like aerosol like sprayers, kind of like a spritzer, so you can kind of spray instead of what I just did. But that being said, last thing to do for this cocktail is add ice, pour it all in the glass, and then add a garnish. And man, do I wish that I had an actual fridge with an actual ice dispenser, because an ice maker would be something very useful to me. But that being said, stir this for a good 15-20 seconds. Let that ice dilute the cocktail a little bit and kind of get a little bit of water in there. As I'm doing this will be a great time to tell you guys that I have a sponsor lined up for the channel. It's not here yet, and it's not completely official, but I'll give you guys a hint. It does have to do with a certain wrist jewelry. So I'll just let you guys guess. I mean, it's pretty given what it was, but I definitely will be in an upcoming video, the brand that I'm working with and kind of the sponsors of the future videos. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and strain our Sazerac into the glass coated in absinthe. And then last but not least, garnish with a lemon peel. So if you guys are enjoying this, let me know. If there's ever anything that you guys want to see in particularly, also let me know for that too. I do have lots of ideas, but I will definitely take some kind of like requests if you guys have anything specific, ever like specific cocktails, like the black walnut old fashioned. I forgot what he had called it. Hold on. It's got the Grand Mariner in it. That would be definitely a cool one to try out on the channel. Probably not during a live stream, because these live stream cocktails are a bit hard. But anything like that, and I would love to do that for you guys. So, Sugar Kitty says, exactly herbal remedies, and you need to dissolve the herbs in whiskey. Yep. So, that's the way liquor was used back in the day. So, that being said, this is the Sazerac made with cognac. Right away on the nose, not too much difference. The lemon peel, very apparent. That lemon citrusy note. I do smell a bit of that white grapiness from the cognac. I don't quite smell the bitters in here as much as I smell almost that earthiness and a floralness as well from the cognac, which seems to have a little bit more of a volume on the nose compared to the original one that I made. But we're going to get on the palate now. Okay, so this is different. This is definitely different. This is a good one.
Do you like it better?
I don't know. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. This is
what Malort was talking about. Double fist dinner. Maybe we should pour some.
yeah. You go ahead and try this one. So that one does seem a little bit lighter in the alcoholness of it. A little bit sweeter and a little bit more floral as well. Lots of that earthy maltiness that I kind of tasted on the palate of the Sazerac came through in this one. And it just seems a little bit more interesting to me. I don't know if it's because
Really?
it's...
I didn't like
You didn't like it?
that.
What didn't you like about it?
I don't know. I like that one better.
Well, try to think of something. Is there anything in particular that you didn't like about it? I should say.
I don't know. I don't like it at all.
I mean, to be fair, they both have their place. I'm just unsure which one I like better right now. It's also not a fair fight because this one's a little bit warm now and this one is fresh and cold. Yeah. I guess I'd have to say I still like the Sazerac better, the one with the rye. The cognac is really good. If you guys haven't tried one with cognac, try it out because it's honestly really good. But yeah, I think the Sazerac with the rye is just a little bit better.
A little bit.
Only a little bit. I mean, for me, apparently for Loren, it's a clear winner. But
I didn't like
that would be interesting to compare the Sazerac Rye versus the Cognac, just straight up, because she liked the Cognac better in the French 75 compared to the gin, but she likes the Sazerac better than the gin, or better than the Cognac Sazerac for the Sazerac. So it would be interesting to see her opinion on Cognac versus Sazerac Rye. That being said, I think the Sazerac is just a little bit better, just by a smidge. The Cognac one is still very, very good. I do like it a lot. But like I said, they both have their place. Definitely try it out if you guys haven't before. So, and last but not least, before we exit this video for the night, we are going to just poke our nose back in this cognac one more time. And I think I'm going to break out one of my bottles of bourbon since it is National Bourbon Day. So, in Lauren's glass, we're going to go ahead and pour just a nip of the Sazerac Cognac. Sazerac de Forge Cognac. Sazerac de Forge Cognac. And then in my glass, what do you guys think I should pour for a bourbon? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. So I'm either feeling, it's going to be something nice. So it's either going to be Bardstown Disco 6, because that one was my favorite. Maker's Mark FAE02. Larceny Barrel Proof A122. Or my classic Brothers Bond. All of those would be good choices, guys. Let me know in the comments which one you think it should be. If you guys are still in here, definitely let me know which one I should drink, just as my nightcap for National Bourbon Day, right? So, all right. So now you can pick up the cognac again, and let me know if you smell anything different. Now that you've had some cocktails with it, a little bit more open palate.
Kind of smells like a Milky Way.
Like a Milky Way. Okay, I mean. Like the candy bar?
No, like the space constellation.
Oh, see, I've never been to the space constellation one.
You're in it.
Well, I know, but like I haven't been like smelling it, so like I wouldn't know what that one smells like, but I do know what the candy bar smells like. Yeah, I guess I could see Kind of like that nougat,
Like the sweet.
that sweet creamy nougat. Maybe a little bit of chocolate in it. Yeah, chocolate is actually like a cocoa is actually a pretty good note for this too. I didn't get that the first time around. That was very good. What else do you think you're getting in there? Power of Bourbon, welcome, man. He says Disco 6. The Disco 6 it'll be. I think this is the first time I've seen you in here. Welcome to the channel, and please, if you're not subscribed, come check me out. I do this every Tuesday, 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock CDT. So definitely come by more often, man. I'm glad you're here. Why don't you do me a favor and reach up there? The bottle on the left should be Disco 6. It's the Bardstown Disco. I think it's the one on the left there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, yeah. One of my favorite whiskeys on my shelf, actually, is this Bardstown Disco 6. Bardstown Discovery in general. Bardstown Discovery series in general, they're both really good. I like them both a lot. But I'd say this Disco 6 is definitely on my top 3 list on my shelf right now. So, very, very good, huh?
Number one.
I don't know.
You don't know. Never mind.
I think it's a coin toss between. I think my top 3 are my top 3. I don't have a particular winner. It's a coin toss between Disco 6, my Booker's No Strangers batch. I still stand by. I think that's great whiskey. And then, honestly, my Larceny A122 was really good. I'm going to have to go back and revisit it because I just opened it. But oh, wow. See, now this has so many different levels of it. This is kind of what I mean when I say it's got like a 5th dimension. Just so much happening in this glass. So good. That's nice. Cheers, everyone. Happy National Bourbon Day. Nope. Here. That is, you haven't had my Discovery series yet, have you?
I don't think so.
So, that is going to be 124 proof.
It smells like celery.
Did you guys hear that? It smells like celery, apparently. No, it doesn't.
I'm sorry. I think it's all the French 75 that I've had.
Celery? That is such a weird note. Where do you get celery from in
It
this?
smells like when you're cooking chili and you cook the celery down. It's what it smells like.
Try it again. Maybe a little further from your nose this time.
Celery doesn't burn your nose, though. No, I smell celery.
Try tasting it. She's gonna say it tastes like celery too.
I feel attacked.
How's that? Hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 124.4 proof, I think. Don't quote me on that. Very, very good stuff. Some very old stuff in there. It's really good. Huh? No? Not for you?
It's making me drool.
Making you drool? Yeah, definitely when we get her to the point of drinking this kind of cast strength stuff, there's going to be some Tums or some other antacid preventing
Said some tongues.
heartburn. She gets heartburn a lot. And then maybe a little bit of water on the side. I do have water here if you want some. But very good. There's just so much in that glass. So much taste and oils and so good. But I think that is it for the video. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed in the thumbnail, I have Lauren and I both got masks here.
You should end the video wearing your mask.
Go get
There
yours.
you go.
And this is mine. It is a mask. We're gonna throw a Mardi Gras party in our new apartment when next time Mardi Gras comes to town. But while we were in New Orleans, we're like, screw it, let's get some Mardi Gras masks so we can be the coolest people at our future party. And so we both got some, and this is mine. And Lauren just went and grabbed hers out of the living room, so she'll have that on. And I think that is how we're going to end this video. So if you guys have anything else that you would like to say, now is the time to say it, because we're about to... Oh, it doesn't work well with a hat. We're about to sign off here pretty quick. So if you guys have any last minute things you'd like to say, now is your time to say it. Speak now or forever hold your peace. But I think that is about it for this video. So thanks everyone for coming. Just a recap. Sazerac the Forest Cognac is good. It's pretty good. 7 and an 8.1 out of 10. In the cocktail regions, the French 75, which is a great light cocktail, Lauren and I both agree that the Sazerac 75 with cognac is the better drink. And then for the Sazerac cocktail made with Sazerac or cognac, that one is going to the Sazerac Rye. Now, the cognac one was still good, but I just prefer the Sazerac just a little bit better. And I think Lauren did too. So, yeah, either way, it's very, very good stuff. Of course, I took my glasses off to put this mask on. But, Bubba, can you read what Sugar Kitty says?
Thanks for the stream, Cat.
Thanks for the stream, Cat, he says.
Or I was going to say that.
Okay. All right. So, yep, that's it for the live stream. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. I know we did. We like drinking these cocktails. We like hanging out with you guys so much. Honestly, one of the best parts of the week. So, thanks for coming out. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next class. Happy International Bourbon Day.